We're told we need to do this as often as possible.
He hasn't touched anything.
I've been touching my chair. And we'll be social distancing. I mean, the sanitizer is sitting down there, so you need to do it wash your hands as often as you can. You're not to touch your face, and if you have to, please sanitize. Be clean, stay healthy, stay alive.
Somebody sent a tweet about, oh, in this country where people are living below $2 a day and you're asking them to buy sanitizer. They don't have to buy sanitizer. They can wash their hands. And we're talking about staying alive. I mean, you're living under $2 today. If you don't wash your hands, you'll be dead and not living under any dollar tomorrow.
Wash your hands. Stay healthy. And now, this young man calls himself One Soul. Real name, Ide Chukwuma, a graduate of international relations from the University of Lagos. The Edo State indigenous had his training as a filmmaker in South Africa, a master's in Outbreak in Burbank, California. He has several works to his credit, but see, he studied international relations. Now he's a filmmaker. You're kind of the people you like.
There we go again.
He's interested in telling, he says he wants to tell the story of the Nigerian in film. Well, he's here to tell us more about that. Please join us to welcome Ide Chukwuma, a.k.a. One Soul.
Happy coronavirus.
There's no happy nothing there, please. Please. The next thing you tell us, he wants to make a movie about coronavirus. Oh, did I play the coronavirus song?
Lord.
No, there's a song, Coronavirus.
But you see, the good thing about we Nigerians is no matter what happens,
we find something around.
We're happy people naturally.
But so do you also know that we didn't make the 100 most happiest people in the world?
I mean, it doesn't matter what they say, but for us as an individual, we try to take our situation and,
ride it.
Do it, turn it into what we want exactly.
And we find something funny
in everything.
No matter how dire.
That might also be a problem. I think it's an African thing generally, because even in the apartheid era, one of the reasons why South Africans are really having a problem is when the international media comes, they see them, they are singing and dancing and they think they are fine. But that was their own way of protesting. And then they'll go back and say, no, the South Africans are okay. They are singing and rejoicing. But no, they were telling a bit of their print through music.
I remember some historian did say that the only thing the black man knows how to do is to sing and dance.
Yes.
So, Ide.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about your last project. What was it again?
The last time I was here, we talked about Pillars of Africa.
Okay.
That was a film that took, a huge part of my emotional life, my psychological life. Every part of my life was put into that.
Filmmaker, so it should take you.
It did.
Your project should take you.
It did, and it took me so much to put that into play.
That was how many years ago?
We filmed that for like 2 years. It took me like 2 years to finally
do one. That's a credit to you.
Yeah,
I mean, how did you find movies that take that long?
In the beginning, I filmed for like 3-4 months. I took a break. I went back and filmed for like 3-4 months again. Took a break, and then we had to bring in an investor who came in, and then went back on set, and that took us. There were sets that needed to be built. There were things that needed to be put in place. I mean, for Pillars of Africa, majority of what went into that film was designed alongside with the film. The film was created, it was manufactured.
Okay.
Do you understand? So
no, I
so
don't
you were building the sets as you're going.
Yeah. Okay. So I created
a country.
A country. That's how it started. Called Izambi Republic. It doesn't exist. So because Izambi Republic is a country, we needed to design Izambi Republic. How do we want it to look like? Sarkozy became the president. We wanted him to look like a real Izambi president. So the military uniforms were made. The
police uniforms.
The army uniforms. We wanted to decide, do we want to bring it to this period, this era, or we want to take it a little to the 90s, or we want to take it to the 70s. I was careful because if I take it to the 70s, I don't think I had to do much more research if I want to do the 70s.
So you didn't want to do that much
No, no,
research.
it's not that. I don't think that is what the thing was. I think it was more about, I like to be accurate in my details. I think I knew I would only be more accurate if I was dealing with the 90s because I was in that era.
Yeah.
You understand me? So if I have to go to the 70s, the 60s, then I have to start consulting people.
Yeah.
Then you have to deal based on the details, on facts they give you.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with that is I would have done that if it was a story that is centered around Nigeria or around Ghana.
Pre-existing country.
It pre-exists, so this is a country that don't exist.
Yeah.
So how do I want somebody to tell me about something that happened in the 70s?
In a country
In a
that
place
doesn't
that
exist.
didn't exist.
That it exists. So everything is here. So the safest way, the safe landing is to just put it in the 90s, and that's
Where
what
you experienced.
Where I experienced.
Yeah.
So I knew everything I wanted to see, what I wanted it to be like, the 504, the 505, and what the army uniforms would be like, what the office should be like, the kind of TV they would have. And then that was put into play, and then we built the full military camp. And then I had to import rifles, not regular, I mean, for films. I have to bring in a lot of stuff from America, and we went on set. So for every time I walked to a point where I felt like I can't get past here, I took a break, go back to the drawing board, bring in the necessary things I needed to move past that level. And that got to a point where the film budget went up. So we went bankrupt, and then we had to start sourcing for funds and try to speak with investors. So at this point, the investor who came in saw what we've done, and he was pretty much encouraged. And he said, okay, I like this one, it's different. And he's another guy who's heard things differently. And then he said, I want to see a helicopter. I want to see this. I want to see that. I said, okay. And then we brought all of that in, and it became an amazing
That
film.
means you had to go and look for helicopters at the designs that were existing in the 90s to bring it in.
The helicopter we got.
Or did you build the story from the 90s into the 2000s?
No, it was in the 90s, but it could be excused for the late 90s, which you understand what I'm trying to, not the 91, 92, so you can see it as a 95, 96. And then it now depends on Zambia Republic. Zambia Republic in this film, it's a poor country. So it can be excused for, it can be as rich as South Africa or Nigeria. So it could be seen for Sudan, you know, the Darfur. It could be seen around the Eritrea, those people. So I was able to
knock it off.
Yeah.
So you finished that now? That
finished, post-production done, the film overran, so I had to sit down and say, okay, we need to cut down to about 2 hours, 20 minutes, and the film is done, but I don't think I can compete with the whole Corona thing going on now, so we can't start promotion. So I'm trying to observe the whole environment and see how...
Don't you think bringing it in now will be, how do I say that, a kind distraction? Mark the word, kind distraction from the situation.
No, I think it might, but that's a 50-50. And that would be me risking investors' money. Do you understand? There's nothing happening in the world right now. The world is at war. Yeah. That's my own definition. We are at war with an enemy we can't even see.
An invisible enemy.
You understand what I'm trying to say? So me trying to bring out a film now where everybody is thinking about safety. Yesterday, the clubs, the churches, the mosque, the schools, everything shut down. So it means the cinema is shut down too. So it's not a good time.
Now, since you brought in coronavirus already, let's just go there.
Right.
How do you think it's going to affect the industry?
I think it's already doing that. I think, like I said, everything in the world is on pause.
So the question is, how is it affecting?
There is, in the beginning of the year, they were, including myself, we had great expectation for the year. Industry practitioners had plans that they wanted to, you know, we were looking forward to 2020. But as it is right now, a lot of things is on pause. Nobody is moving forward because we don't know what's next. investors are not releasing money. And even you can't even take an investor's money because you can't even work. And projects that are ready, you can't even start promotion. You can't even take the next step towards it because
you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Nobody is talking about entertainment now. Entertainment don't matter. You understand me? Every time you watch the news, you're hearing about coronavirus. That's what is the major problem now. And until a solution is found and we start hearing some more good news, I think everything is on hold. And I hope that is done on time, or else the year will just run and we will be achieving less from the entertainment side.
Okay, talking about things affecting the entertainment industry, basically, recently we heard about the Actors Guild of Nigeria and their new patron. That caused some rancor amongst the actors, and that wasn't good for a filmmaker. That's not good for your business.
No, it's not. I mean, I'm going to approach this thing from three perspectives, right?
Sorry.
Right.
You didn't let me finish my question. Okay. As a filmmaker, do you thrive on controversies? Do controversies work well for your business or not?
No, it doesn't. But then there's some controversy that are good controversy. But then there are there's no publicity that's bad publicity to start with. It's about how you're able to take the negativity and channel it into positivity. So even this negativity we have now with the patron, if they have good PR people, they will take that negativity and fix the problem and channel it into positivity. But while we're trying to do that, we must also look at the problem, right? Was it a good call for the head of AGN, the AGN president, to make that call? Who are his advisors? On what ground? Do you understand? Now, it's sad that we live in a country where leaders, and that was one of the conversations you guys had. I was listening backstage. People are not being held accountable for their actions in this country, and it's sad. And when I'm saying that, I'm talking about both politicians, both me as a citizen, both the pastor in the church, both our fathers and our mothers at home. We're not being held accountable.
Hold your thoughts there. I need to be held accountable for my time. We'll be back in a moment to continue this conversation. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We have One Soul in the studio. One Soul, well done.
Thank you.
You talked about Pillars of Africa.
Yeah.
It's ready, right?
Yes, it is.
Can we catch a glimpse of it?
Okay, so I want to have like a private screening of the film, one in Lagos and one in the villa. The wife of the vice president wants a private screening of the film because she's so emotionally connected to anything that has to do with the girl child. And Pillars of Africa has to do with the girl child story. So I gave her my work. She invited me to the villa during the course of making the film. So she personally requested that you're going to give me a private viewing when this film is ready. So I said yes. One. So before the film is released, there's going to be a private screening in the villa. And then I want to have another private screening in Lagos before we put it out there to the public.
To which NT will be invited?
No, I'll get my own private screening, don't worry. But yeah, come on. I mean, when you have access to the king, you get away with a lot of things.
Oh, yes.
He's smart. But okay, so see this.
Yeah.
I was going to take you to this social media bill. A lot of entertainers have been talking about it. Is it that much of a matter that everyone should be latching onto? I mean,
from my perspective, again, I'm going to approach this from two perspectives. I like to be detailed when I have to be in situations like this. Number one, I think the social media has opened doors to a lot of unemployed Nigerians to be gainfully employed and independently make money for themselves.
Yep.
Either through becoming... Legally. Social media, influencers, and it became a business channel, a business portal, and it's a good thing.
And so brands are using them big time.
Exactly. Yes. And also, it has really helped in terms of spreading message real fast, you know, telling stories and all that. It's good. But you see, there is a risk to everything, and that's where the problem is. And that's where I'm going to be honest. My colleagues might not like what I say, but I'm going to be very honest with you. There is a problem when you say there's freedom of speech for you to say everything, right? Yes, there's freedom of speech. I don't think, I've read that bill. I don't think there's any part of that bill where the government say, we will stop you from posting anything. No, the government didn't say that. The government didn't say they will stop you from using social media. The government is not saying you don't have a right to your phone, or you don't have a right to say what you want to say, when you want to say it, how you want to say it. The government is only saying, be accurate.
Because you'll be held accountable.
Because you'll be held accountable.
Which is fair.
Which is fair. Tell the truth. Because you'll be held accountable. Before you post something about Ide Chukwuma innocent, be sure about what you're posting. Because if it's false, you'll be held accountable. Before you post something about the president, you have a right to. Before you write something about Buhari, be sure about what you're writing, because you'll be held accountable. Before you write anything about the government, which you have a right to, be sure about what you're saying. Before you put out the news, be sure about that source. Make sure that news is accurate. If not, you'll be held accountable. And that's one thing I said earlier. A lot of us, we are not being held accountable for our actions. And that is why you see someone who takes a video. He or she does not know the source. Pam, it goes out there. It trends. On true story. People go online, make a very harsh comment. You hurt people's emotions because you can sit at the comfort of your home, behind your keypad. You have a little 500 naira data. Thank God to...
telcos.
Yeah. You can type real quick, and then you can post something. The bloggers, there's no more investigative journalism where people can check facts of story and put it out.
Post.
All right, so before we're almost out of time, so just tell us, what are you working on now? Someone said something about something called treason. You can go to jail for that, you know.
For treason? No. Okay, so I'm excited. Pillars of Africa is ready. Pillars of Africa is going to be out this year, but I'm on a new project called Treason, the Bet of a Terrorist. It's the bet of a terrorist. Oh. Treason, the bet of a terrorist. Okay. It's a story that deals on the Boko Haram insurgency, but this time I'm telling the story from two perspectives. Trying to show the good efforts of the military, how much these men have sacrificed or are sacrificing every day. The members of the Nigerian Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. Every day these people lose their life for you and I to be able to sit here. So we're trying to tell the story from their perspective and show their effort. And also, with this film, we're also trying to tell a little story from the terrorist perspective. The little boy who was just a little child, who has a dream of becoming a doctor, useful to his society. And a few years later, he's fighting against the country he once loved. What happened? Something went wrong. In between. Yeah. And that's one thing nobody is really paying attention to. Poverty, no education. And lots of...
So when will this be ready?
We're going on set in another 2-3 months. Okay. We're filming both here in America and in the United States. Okay. So we would be keeping you guys updated.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be speaking with Ide Chukwuma Innocent, a filmmaker, a.k.a. One Soul. Well done. We wish you well.
Thank you so much.
And so Ide brings to a close our show for today. We'll bring you a fresh one next week. He being our strength, I'm Alero Edu. Please stay safe. Wash your hands. Use sanitizer whenever you can. Don't shake hands. Don't hug. See you next week.
And again, I use my sanitizer. My name is Neil Tagbe. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of your morning. Please be safe. Social distancing. You see that Alera and I are not close. But you can still be nice. They talk about elbow bumps, leg bumps.
And bumps.
Come on, just wave. And be nice. Be good. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do to others as you have them do unto you. See you next week.